Welcome to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
We're coming to you live right after Game 2 of the Leafs versus Lightning. Leafs lose 5-3, series tied 1-1. Let's just get into it. How you feeling? You okay? You
I don't
okay?
know, man. I'm not sure what to do here. We're coming at you right after the game, Wednesday night, May the 4th, episode 152, right in your
Right,
face.
episode 152.
Right in your face,
Right
little
in the
post
brunt.
game, right in the brunt. Speaking of the brunt, he returns to the lineup and gets a nice goal, but I don't know. I mean, what'd you think of his game?
It was okay. He wasn't the regular brunt that we're used to,
No.
but not terrible, not bad.
Yeah, that goal was awesome. But like the play Matthews made to keep it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So like whatever. So the Leafs dropped game 2, 5-3, and the series is tied 1-1, like you said off the top. Now we'll go over everything here. There's some concerning things I would take out of this game, and then but part of me is like we were just talking before we started recording, like you were saying, it's a long series. Like Twitter's going. What were you saying? Twitter's going crazy.
Yeah, Twitter's just like it's like a nightmare when you go on Twitter when the Leafs are losing because fans just
Yeah.
when they're winning, it's like plan the parade, and when they're losing, it's it's over. This team sucks. Everything sucks. Everything's terrible, and I'm just like, oh my god, like it's a 7-game series. If someone said to you at the start of the series, who's going to win in how many games, you probably say Leafs in 7. Leafs, like if you're a Leaf fan, you say Leafs in 7, Leafs in 6. Tampa Bay Lightning fan would say Tampa in 6, Tampa in 7. They're gonna win games,
Of course.
like the idea that because they played such a great game 1, and I said it in the last podcast, I'm like they're not gonna sweep them,
No.
and that's what happened. But they lose a game, and the fans on Twitter are just everybody's got to go.
Yeah, and that's crazy. Like coming off of like how well they played in game 1, I do not personally think, and this is what concerns me the most here, is like I don't think the Leafs played a bad game in this hockey game per se. They had their moments, but the first period, I thought the Leafs outplayed the Tampa Bay Lightning.
They did.
And I didn't see. So part of me's watching this thinking like, okay, the Leafs didn't score on the power play. They didn't score on the power play and a couple power play chances in the first period. So like, I'm thinking part of me thought halfway through this game, like the Leafs are handing it to them. You're handing it to them. Like Tampa's not playing Tampa woke up. Don't get me wrong. Once they started getting their power play going and they started putting a few in the net, like they woke up. But for the first half of this game, I thought the Leafs were kind of just handing it to them. Like, here, take it. We don't know how to, we still aren't sure how to do this. So you guys, here, take it.
Yeah. And I think the Leafs power play is a big issue. It's something that really needs to be addressed in the next day before game 3.
Well, dude,
because you've got to start scoring on the power play. Tampa, what was Tampa, 50% tonight on the power play, 40% on the power play tonight? You've got to start scoring on the power play. Like, you had a great game in game 1. The penalty kill was unbelievable, but this Tampa Bay Lightning team has just a lethal power play.
Well, I'll get into the box score a little bit. Like, I personally thought there were some phantom calls.
Yes, the officiating was not good.
No, not good.
Not
good. Just like Louis Dominguez intermission snack last night.
Spicy pork and broccoli.
Not good, he said.
Not good.
He didn't think he was going to be playing. So, but little did he know.
He actually said, "Not the best."
Not the best. No shit. Not the best. Not the fucking best. Slamming down some. That was probably at like 12:30 at night. No, maybe midnight. I don't know what time it was.
It was between the first. He said it was between the first overtime and the second overtime. So maybe like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And he's like, "I had a meal, spicy pork and broccoli. Not the best."
No, not the best. Louis Domingue. I was gonna clip that and add it to the intro, but I didn't. But anyway, look, man, like I don't know if the officials were the same tonight. The same officials that ref game 1. Do you?
No, I don't know.
No. So it could have been. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm not sure how they roll that in the playoffs. Like, will they keep the same set of officials in for a couple games? I don't know.
I know that they are trying to call more penalties like they do in the
Oh,
regular season
Jesus.
versus because the old saying for the playoffs, right, is that you can get away with murder in the playoffs,
Okay, hang on a second though.
but not anymore.
Have you been watching any of the other games?
Yeah, well, I was watching a bit of during intermission. I put on the Boston Carolina game. Whew,
Okay,
that was feisty.
I was not watching that game tonight. Like I was just paying attention to the Leafs, but like I was watching some of the games last night, and Edmonton and LA. Like I caught a bit of it on night one the other night, and like I was not seeing the penalties like this series. I was not seeing it. And from what I've seen in so far in the other games, the other series, not like this, not even close. The Tampa Bay Lightning had 7 fucking power plays tonight. 7 in a power play in a playoff game.
Yeah,
Are you fucking kidding me? The Bushkin call alone? Like, dude,
terrible.
I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm sorry. Just you can't nothing drives me. You can't win a hockey game when you're killing
No.
when you're constantly killing penalties. You can't do it. You
They
can't.
haven't
And
they haven't really played a real game yet. Like Keefe said after, and John Cooper said it after the first game, that it's a really hard game to judge because there was only like 30 minutes 5-on-5. Tonight was kind of the same thing. It's really hard to judge these two teams when every time they get going, one of them goes on the fucking power play.
the Tampa Bay Lightning had 14 minutes tonight that they were on the power play. That's almost an entire fucking period.
Yeah.
Come on. Like,
And some of the calls were worth it, but half of them, I would say half, were like, what are you calling? What was that penalty?
there was a Kerfoot call in the first. There was the
Yeah,
Lyubushkin
Kerfoot got
call.
called on holding. That wasn't holding. The
I don't
Lyubushkin
know.
call
Like,
wasn't a call. Nylander's call I thought was a little stretched.
oh, brutal. Like Lyubushkin, Nylander, like Simmons takes a fucking dumb
That
penalty.
that was
cost
a dumb penalty.
Yeah, dumb penalty. But like
Bunting took a dumb penalty.
yeah, there were some dumb penalties
That's what
that
I
they
mean.
took. No question. But like at
But the
least
other
3
ones shouldn't have been called.
No, at least 3 of them, or even it out. Like the Leafs had 4 power plays. They put up a fucking goose egg on the power play. They score in the first period. And we were kind of saying this the other night. Like, if the Leafs score in the first period on one of their power play chances early, maybe they're up 1-0, 2-0 early, they probably win this hockey game.
Yeah, but you could say the same about Tampa
In game one.
In game one, if they score a goal or two on that 5-minute power play, it's a totally different game.
Okay, coming off of game one, Chad, I thought Tampa Bay was going to come out guns a-blazing. They didn't. They came out and they looked like exactly like they looked in game one to me. They looked like they were sleeping in the first period.
They looked a little better. But I know what you're saying.
They didn't look interested in.
I was expecting just a fucking tornado of lightning everywhere. Didn't happen.
The Leafs looked just as good as game one, if not better, in the first period. I'm like, this is a great fucking sign. They couldn't capitalize on the power play chances. Next thing you know, Tampa starts getting fucking
power play
going their way, and they start ripping it in, and that's all she wrote. But it drives me nuts that some of those calls that shouldn't have been called. Yeah, okay, sure. You want to talk about the power play? The Leafs, bury a power play goal or two, and we're not sitting here right now. Maybe we're going to overtime or whatever the case may be. But just, I hate the officials trying to fucking like own the game. Like, just like maybe they don't want this series to get out of control, so they're just calling shit for like what is this? Because some of those calls, man, I'm just it drives me fucking crazy. It drives me crazy.
I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is. And like you say, with some of the other series, I haven't watched close enough to give you the exact number of penalties called, but they seem very chippy and
not like this.
Yeah, this series hasn't been overly chippy. It hasn't been overly in your face. And yet there seemed to be an abnormal amount of penalty minutes.
Dude, when's the game one was crazy, but power plays tonight, so 7 for the Lightning, 4 for the Leafs. So,
but would you say tonight was a dirty game?
No.
There was 11 penalties called in a playoff game.
I was just going to say, when's the last time you can remember? Like, we watch every single regular season game. When was the last time they called 11 penalties in a regular season game? I don't recall it. Yeah. Maybe it happened, but you just like all of a sudden you get to the playoffs and you start calling more penalties. That's usually not the way it works. It's usually the opposite of that.
That's what they were saying going into the playoffs, that the NHL was trying to crack down on, the playoffs where you could just get away with anything.
Like,
And
I'm not
the refs were sort of told you have to call it like the regular season, but now I think they've gone too far, and they're calling it worse than the regular season.
I'm not blaming the officials for the loss here, but
No, it's a loose loss.
I'm just calling it what it is. The officiating has been absolutely fucking brutal in game 1 and again tonight. And I don't like when the officials try to like play, a deciding factor. I don't like that. It drives me fucking mental. And I just like let them fucking play.
Well,
That's what I
do you
want to
have the
see.
box score?
Yeah.
What was Tampa on the power play tonight?
3 for 7. 3 for 7. They scored 5 goals. 3 of them were on the power play.
Yeah. So if they don't, if the refs
And
don't
a couple of them were on like some of the power play goals. One of them was on the Simmons power penalty. A couple of them were on, I think, scored when on penalties that shouldn't have been called penalties.
Well, Kerfoot got the first penalty, right? Or the first one that they scored on?
I think so.
That wasn't really a penalty.
Kind of. Like, I could see that one a hold, maybe, but
in the playoffs, normally they don't call that kind of thing. Like a little grab of the shoulder while you're trying to get the puck off his stick. They don't usually call it. I don't know. I'm with you, though. I think the officiating's been absolutely terrible for the first 2 games. But like you say, it's not the officiating. That's not the reason they lost this game.
No, it's not. Okay. I'll quickly run through it and then we'll kind of just chat a little more, some thoughts and stuff, whatever. So Bunting draws back into the lineup. Clifford gets a 1-game suspension. So he obviously, think he would have been in if he wasn't suspended?
No, I think he would have been the guy to come out for Bunting.
I don't know. The way that fucking Keefe was blowing smoke up his ass after game 1 sounded like he did not hear him saying like our 4th line metrics are much better when Kyle Clifford is in the lineup. Did you hear him saying that?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
I missed that, but
so he's like
I don't see those metrics.
He said they went back. This was after game 1. He was asked about the Kyle Clifford penalty and all that before he got suspended, but he was asked and he said going back over the last couple months of the season, our 4th line metrics were the best and looked the best. This is what Keefe said when Kyle Clifford was in the lineup and on that line. Okay. So we haven't seen the end of Kyle Clifford. I thought maybe we have, but we haven't. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in for game 3, to be honest. Would not be surprised.
Who's going to come out?
I don't know. That's
Simmons?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Simmons didn't have a good game tonight.
You got to find a way to get Spezza in the lineup, man. You have to. You have to find a way to get Spezza in there. Spezza, you don't think, okay, Spezza is not the key contributor here, but they lost by 2 goals tonight. You don't think maybe Spezza could have popped one on of the earlier power plays? He might not have, but he could have.
Yeah.
There's some offense there that Spezza has that they're purposely keeping out of the lineup. You have to find a way to get him in there. Do you not think? You got to get Spezza in the fucking lineup.
Yeah. I do think, but I'm gonna go with Keefe on this one, and if this is what he feels is best for the team,
it's not.
He's got to do it. I mean, Spezza has dropped off dramatically this year,
but when it comes time for a big goal, Jason
Spezza's been there his whole career,
dude. Blackwell, Simmons, Clifford, or Spezza. Come on, man. One of those guys might score you a big goal, and we both know which one it is. Sure, Simmons could pop one in. Blackwell could pop one in. Spezza's still got his shot. He's got more. His hands are still there. I don't know. You got to get Spezza in. He's also
got the experience.
He's got the experience. I find a way to get Spezza in for game 3, period. Whether it's Blackwell, whether it's Cash.
Why don't you do that? Why don't you do Spezza
or Simmons? I don't know.
Why don't you put Spezza in and take Blackwell out?
Or maybe Simmons. Maybe you keep Blackwell in and you take Simmons out for a game.
Yeah, and I would do that. After tonight, I thought Simmons was, I don't know. I don't know if Tampa's getting in his head, but he's running around, and the way the refs are calling it, he's just a liability right now. He was a liability tonight. If you're not going to just lay hard body checks, if you're gonna fall into Corey Perry chirping in your ear and spear somebody or do something stupid, it's not worth having him in the lineup. Spezza wouldn't do that. He would be above that and play the game. So I get it. You want the toughness, but at the same time, you cannot afford to take penalties against the Tampa Bay Lightning. You just can't. They will burn you. They did tonight three times tonight. So
Yeah, 100%. So I guess I'm looking at this here. I was incorrect. I thought the Leafs had, I guess the Leafs only had one power play in the first period. I thought they had more than that, but
I thought they had two.
I thought they did too. But it's showing here, unless they,
Tampa had the too many men on the ice.
yeah, one of the penalties isn't showing up for some reason. I'm not sure why. But yeah, they did. Okay, yeah, the too many men penalty isn't showing up.
Yeah, they had.
So yeah, they did. Okay, so the Leafs had two power plays. They had the first two power plays of the game. And sometimes the box isn't always right. Like the box isn't always right.
No,
Sometimes they
you
miss.
got you got to be careful around the box.
Yeah, you got to watch out around the box. So it's not always right. So
Trust your instincts.
that's right. No, so Pat Maroon took a roughing penalty, and then there was a too many men penalty. So Tampa took two penalties in the first. The first two, Leafs did not capitalize, and then the Leafs took two penalties. Giordano for holding, Kerfoot for holding. Both like one was they killed the first one, and then late in the first period.
That's such borderline penalties,
Yeah,
man.
I know. Like, I hate this. I absolutely hate it in fucking playoff games. The refs playing fucking, I hate it. It absolutely drives me nuts. Anyway, the 1957 mark of the first period, right late in the first period, Hedman gets a couple fucking pokes at it in front, scores 1-0 for Tampa. Power play goal going into the second period. So, but I thought the Leafs played well. Again, like kind of what I was saying off the top. Like, I feel like the Leafs outplayed them in the first period. That's
Yep.
how I saw it.
You play
And
that, you play that period over and over and over again. The majority of the time, the Leafs come out with a lead.
I think so. And
It just
like,
didn't happen tonight.
like I said this earlier, like I think the Leafs kind of started handing it to them a little bit to Tampa. Like I said, Tampa came on strong. They got stronger as the game went on, but I thought the Leafs played a part in kind of like handing it to them like early. Anyway, second period fires up. Corey Perry, that fucking bitch, he rips one home, 2-0 for the Tampa Bay, and I'm thinking, oh, this is not good. This is just not good here. But Matthews makes an incredible play to keep it in, and just an awesome play to get it to Marner, who gets it to Bunting in front. The Brunt pops in his first playoff goal to make it 2-1 Tampa Bay at that point. Literally a fucking minute later, maybe a minute and a half later, Kucherov, that fucking bitch as well. Man, that fucking guy's driving me. I'm going to be real sick of him by the time this fucking series is over. Tell you that.
You
But
loved him last year when he had the tarp off, drinking the Bud Lights, doing the interview.
yeah, that was one of the
How times have changed.
that was one of the greatest. Yeah, that was one of the still the best things I've ever seen in my life. But anyway, now he's up in our grill, so I'm gonna get a little sick of him real quick here. But so right when the Leafs showed life, 2-1 off the Bunting goal, Kucherov pops it, and this was another power play goal here too. So that puts Tampa Bay up 3-1, and it's just not looking good at that point. 3-1 at the end of the second. You go to the third again early. Okay, so we're talking a goal late, and then in the final minute of the first for Tampa. In the first 3 minutes of the second, Tampa gets an early goal. 3-1 going into the third. In the first 2 minutes of the third, Tampa gets a fucking goal to put them up 4-1. So late in periods, early in periods in this game, Tampa's putting the puck in the net. That's usually, honestly, a sign of like it's not going your way. When you're allowing late goals in periods and early goals in periods, it's not your night.
No. And it wasn't their night.
It wasn't their night. So that made it, that early goal in the third made it 4-1. Braden Point decides I'll get in on the fucking action with another power play goal on one of the other fucking brutal phantom ref calls. This might have been the Labushkin one. I can't remember. Maybe this was the Simmons one. I don't know. Anyway, 5 minutes into the third period, it is 5-1 Tampa Bay. The Leafs fought back late. They pushed back a little bit. Marner gets his second of the playoffs to make it 5-2. Kerfoot gets a short-handed goal. Him and Brody kind of had a little 2-on-1 going to make it 5-3. The Leafs got a late power play, and they just couldn't get anything fired up. Pulled the goalie to make it 6-on-4. Nothing was working. They dropped game 2, 5-3, and the best of 7 series is tied 1-1 in a game that is like, I'm not super pissed that they lost this game because I don't think they played that bad. Do you?
No, and that's before we started recording, that's what I was saying. That I was really glad. I thought they played a really good first period. I thought they were pretty sloppy in the second, and it cost them. But They showed some pushback in the third period when they were down 5-1. They very well could have rolled over and been like, we'll see you in Tampa on Friday, but they didn't. They showed some pushback. They scored the shorthanded goal. They got some life. They kind of the playoffs is all about mentality, man. Just get into Tampa's head, right? That we're just going to keep coming at you. We're just going to keep poking away here. So now, instead of getting blown out 5-1, you made it 5-3 and you showed a little life, and that'll give you a little momentum going into Tampa. I don't
Yeah.
think the score reflects the game. I really don't. I think
No.
Tampa scored some power play goals, a couple lucky power play goals, but when it was 5-on-5, it was mostly Toronto dominated.
Yeah,
So
I don't disagree with that. So I'll quickly run through the box here. So the Leafs lose 5-3. The shots on goal,
you're gonna
34.
you're gonna finger the box.
I'm gonna finger the box right now.
Yeah.
I usually like I usually like going in the box more after a win. I don't enjoy going putting my fingers in the box after a loss. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take one for the team.
You gotta do it for the team. You
I'm
gotta
gonna
do it
take one
for
for the
for
team
all the
right
people
now.
listening. You gotta do it.
So they drop it 5-3, 34 shots for Tampa, 34 shots for the Leafs. The Lightning blocked 11 shots in this game. They were credited for. The Leafs were credited for 8 blocked shots. Tampa Bay Lightning, 39 hits. The Leafs, 36. So they kind of pretty much even there. Face-offs, 26 for the Lightning, 32 for the Leafs. Power play, 3 for 7 for Tampa Bay. That's kind of the difference right there, really. And 0 for 4 for the Toronto Maple Leafs on the power play. The Leafs power play did not look good tonight, and their penalty kill wasn't as deadly as we've been used to seeing.
No,
but when you're
special teams was the headline of this game.
Yeah,
Tampa's power play was on fire. Leafs was not. Leafs penalty kill wasn't as good as Monday. And that's okay. Those are things that you can fix because you had the number 1 power play in the regular season. They can get it going. I know they can. And your penalty kill, I don't know what it was tonight. Maybe it was the fact that the Leafs were kind of like, when you get calls like that, it's got to be frustrating to be like, fuck, we got to kill another fucking penalty because fucking Nylander skated by a Tampa guy and he fell like he had been shot. It just fucking pissed me off. Like when Simmons took the penalty, you're like, that was a penalty and you got to kill it off. But these fucking phantom calls.
Yeah, a dumb fucking penalty. Okay, so I want to just hit on a couple rapid fire things and we'll get out of here. We won't be too long. But before we do that,
we're not in a good mood.
We should probably get to a sponsor in a loss. It's tough going to a sponsor in a loss, but there's really only one sponsor for a loss. Here's what you got to do, boys. You want to let the frustration out. That's what you want to do. You want to be nice and clear. You want to make sure everything's running smooth and flowing good when we go to Tampa Bay on Friday night for game number 3. You might want to spend some time with your fleshlights.
I knew it.
Between now and Tampa. Want to throw to that, Chad?
Yeah, this is our sponsor, Fleshlight. It's a flashlight for your penis.
The bar play is just not what it once was. What's that? There's an alternative option? Tell me more. Ooh, it looks like a real pussy. It feels like a real pussy. We're talking about Fleshlight. Oh, any porn star that you like, molded to your satisfaction. You don't want to come too early. You don't want to come too late. You want to come just on time. Fleshlight. If the power goes out and you're stuck in the dark, you reach for your fleshlight, it's not gonna help you. You're gonna wish you had a real flashlight in that situation. Nonetheless, the Tippin' Maple Leafs podcast, big supporters of Fleshlight. Ooh, it looks like a real pussy. It feels like a real pussy. We're talking about Fleshlight.
Go to fleshlight.com to order yours today.
You got to let the tension out somehow, right? After these playoff games. So, you might want to reach for your flashlight and just go at it. No problem.
There you go.
But I'll tell you what, we'll go. Okay. So before we look ahead to game 3, I got a couple quick things here. Is there anything you want to specifically hit on before we look ahead to game 3?
No, let's flush game 2 and move on.
Okay, I would say a couple things stood out for me here, and I'll kind of go back to game 1 for a bit here too. But in this game specifically, one of the main goals, I don't know if this was I can't remember what power play or what penalty kill they were killing here, but Brody loses his stick in the defensive zone when they were killing one of the penalties, and Kampf had an opportunity to clear it, but I guess he wasn't aware that Brody didn't have his stick. The puck should have been out. Kampf kind of was passing it to Brody. Brody didn't have his stick, so Tampa was able to keep it in. Next thing you fucking know, it's in the back of the fucking net. So that was obviously not. Like,
there was a few things like that tonight. Like, it just looked like things weren't going the Leafs' way.
No, they were not. But
I know I remember the play that you're talking about. It is what it is. It happens sometimes, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, that's not
Monday. Nothing could go wrong.
No, I know. Like that's an uncharacteristic play by Kampf and by Brody. Like, I mean, Brody didn't have his fucking stick. What are you going to do? If you don't have your stick in your fucking hands, what are you going to do? But that puck should have been out. The puck was in the net fucking 5 seconds later. So anyway.
It's hard to do anything productive without a stick in your hand.
And we touched on this, but the Lyubushkin penalty for me might have been the worst call of the game. Like, I don't even think he touched the guy. Should not have been a penalty. Absolutely not. No. And again, I think the officiating has been brutal in games.
Every time Lyubushkin's on the ice, he's throwing hard hits.
Sure.
And Tampa is complaining to the refs. If you watch,
every river.
But it's working. Every player that gets up is like, that's a fucking, where's the penalty? Where's the fucking penalty? Where's the fucking penalty? So finally, Lyubushkin skates by a guy and they call a penalty. It works. Like, Tampa Bay didn't win back-to-back cups not knowing how this game works. And they're doing an incredible job selling calls right now.
Yeah,
incredible job.
Okay, that's fair. So I hope that I don't know who the officials were in game 1 and 2, but I hope when we get to game 3, we have a different set of officials that maybe keep the whistles in their pockets a little bit, and we don't decide this series. It was special teams.
Some veteran officials who are like, play on.
Let them fucking decide it on their own.
Yeah, there's been no 5-on-5 time in this series so far.
Driving me fucking nuts. It's absolutely killing me, but it's just brutal. But
Chris says, I'll put up a comment here. Chris says, we weren't outplayed. We didn't stop pushing that game, and it could have gone either way if we had got a bounce or two.
Yeah, we touched on that for sure.
Yeah, we agree.
So I would say the Leafs did have a power play it was 3-1 going into the third. So they were still sniffing around there. The Leafs had a power play late in the second, and my God, it was they gave up tons of quality shorthanded chances.
They couldn't get it. The second period, they were bad.
Like, this was bad in the brutal, man. They gave up 4 or 5 quality chances on that power play at the end of the second.
I think two breakaways.
Yeah, it was brutal. Like, it was fucking brutal. So big time problems there. They got to figure something out with the penalty, with their power plays. So,
and the penalty kill too.
Their penalty kill's been great. So hopefully, I don't think that was,
but their penalty kill's great when you're trying to enter the zone. It wasn't great tonight when Tampa was setting up. They needed to do it right in their own zone.
That's fair. But Chad, here's the reality of the situation. You give the Tampa Bay Lightning 7 power plays in a fucking game, they're going to burn you. It's impossible. Yeah. If you keep putting these guys, and I'm not blaming this all on the Leafs. No. Some of the calls should have been called. Some of the calls were fucking brutal officiating. But you put Tampa on the power play for 7 fucking times. Guess what's going to happen?
They're going to score.
Of course.
Go back to last playoffs and read anything on the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they fucking win almost every game on power play goals. They sell penalties. And they score on the power play. So you can't take penalties. You just can't take penalties against Tampa Bay.
No. So I'm really hoping the whistles get put away going forward here and let this thing be decided 5-on-5. Like, if it's a penalty, call it. But some of this bullshit, get the fuck out of here. And again, the NHL, This is what drives me nuts about the NHL. The inconsistency from
Yep.
the last game of the regular season to the first game of the playoffs. And here we are 2 games in now. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, come on, man. The inconsistency with the fucking officiating
Yep.
in the National Hockey League is a fucking joke. I'm sorry. It is. And they
Yep.
don't seem to want to do anything about it. They are just
No, they don't. They don't care.
Joke.
They don't care. It's so there's not too many sports that there's so much power in the referee's hands. Like it's so gray. There's no black and white. Basically, like tonight, I don't know what it was, but like I said, Tampa was selling it hard. It kind of pissed me off because you remember at the start of game 1, they're like, "Oh, Tampa came out without their helmets on. They're just veterans. They're grizzly. They've won the cup." They're fucking walking around like their vaginas have been shot off, falling on the ice tonight.
I know, man.
And the refs are arm up, arm up, arm up. I'm just like, oh my God. Do you really think the Leafs are this dirty?
And look, I just want to reiterate here. I'm not pinning this loss on the officials.
No, but it didn't help.
It didn't help. No, it didn't help. So it's just, come
And
on.
it makes it shitty for the fans. It's shitty watching hockey that gets broken up like that.
Of course,
let them
man.
play 5-on-5 and get a groove going. Stop fucking calling penalties every 2 minutes.
These are 2 good teams, very even, in my opinion.
Let them play.
Let them decide it on their own. Don't let the refs fucking decide it.
When there's a penalty, call a penalty, but don't just fucking call penalties for the sake of calling penalties.
No. So, okay, I have to bring this up because I think this has been a major disappointment. I don't know. We'll see going forward, and we'll tee up game 3 a bit here and give some final thoughts before we go. But I gotta bring this guy up, man, in a negative fashion because I think he's been okay in the face-off circle tonight. He fairly well face-off percentage, but basically invisible in games 1 and 2. I'm talking about John Tavares.
Yeah.
Basically an
I'm glad you brought that up.
Not basically an absolute non-factor in the a 5-0 win. They didn't need him.
Not only a non-factor, watch their power play. Who is the guy that fumbles and loses the puck more often on that power play? It's JT on the wall.
What's going on here?
I have no idea. He's not as quick and sharp as the other guys right now, and he just doesn't look good. He's winning faceoffs. That's what he's doing. He's winning faceoffs and he's in the right position. But
do you drop him down the lineup?
I don't drop him down the lineup, but I would take him off the first power play unit. Do you know how many times tonight I took notes of this?
He might be able to tip it in, though. That's a dangerous call.
Well, get him in front of the net, but they have him on the wall.
Yeah.
And every time
he's no good to you. He's no good to you there. He's only good at one spot on the power play. So put him in front of the net or take him off the power play.
He just, for some reason, he gets the puck along the boards and freezes until 2 defensemen come in, and then he loses it in a puck battle. It's a really weird thing to watch. So,
would you give him new line mates, or would you keep they kind of tonight? It started with Mikheyev and Kerfoot, and then they kind of had Cachet for a little bit there, and then once they were losing it, kind of whatever. Who would you give him on his line right now?
Well, in Tampa, you're not going to have last line change, so. No. I might go back with Willie up there. I don't know. You got to get something going. You're not going to put John Tavares on the third line. You're not going to move up.
They put Nylander on the third line, and he's more valuable than Tavares is right now.
He's a centerman. You're not going to bump him down to be third line center. He's winning draws and stuff, and he'll get his. I'm positive he'll get.
I'm going to be dead serious. Who's brought more in game 1 and 2, Kampf or Tavares?
Oh, Kampf has been unbelievable.
So, I mean, dude, look, I don't give a shit about feelings or you're the captain or whatever.
It's not about feelings.
No, the only thing I give a fuck is how are we going to win this fucking series?
Like, it's about the potential, right? It's about
if this continues, how much, I don't know, not impressed. That's all I'm saying. I'm not, I wouldn't move off it yet, but clock's ticking. Every game we're getting a game closer to
No, I totally agree with you. I had it in my notes tonight watching the game. Like, what is he doing? And then same thing, the power play in the last minute where if they score, they have a chance to make it 5-4. He just, I don't know what it is. He seems a step behind right now.
Oh, fuck, dude. More than a step behind.
Yeah.
So that's very concerning. Very concerning. That second line, and I don't want to say it's making Mikheyev not effective, but that's the Matthews line and then the Kampf line Those two lines are kind of driving it. Like,
Yeah, he just doesn't have it. Well, you know
I don't
what it
know.
is? Tampa and Toronto play a very high tempo speed game. I don't think he has the foot speed.
Well, he definitely doesn't, but
And this just isn't his game. Maybe he'd be more well suited in like a Carolina series or a Boston series.
maybe.
Or
But
something
okay,
that's
like Muzzin has
I
kind of
shouldn't
lost
even
his,
say Carolina because they're fucking flying right
no,
now.
Muzzin has lost his foot speed, but I've been very impressed with Muzzin in game 1 and 2.
Why?
Well, he's playing physical.
He's playing with TJ Brody.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go, right there.
He's playing with TJ Brody. Everyone who plays with TJ Brody looks better. TJ Brody propped up Justin Hall when he was in the lineup, and now he's propping up Muzzin that he's in the lineup. He's given Muzzin his game back. So Tavares has to drive his line. Matthews and Marner drive that line. Tavares and somebody have to drive the second line, but he ain't pulling his weight.
So what do you do there? What would you personally do there? Nothing.
He
Because there's nothing you can
he
do.
started him in both games. The first,
I know. What the
first
fuck
shift
is
of games.
that? Actually, the
So-
first shift tonight was pretty good. They looked good in the first shift. They controlled it.
He's not like out of place defensively or anything like that. But
No.
like you say, Matthews and Marner driving the play towards Tampa's zone. Kampf and Engvall are doing the same. Nylander and Mikheyev, not so much.
I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to anyway. Like, let's be honest here. He's making $11 million. Like, we're not talking about a $4 or $5, $6 million guy. Like, he needs to fucking do something. Like,
he definitely needs to do something.
He can't just go. He can't float through the series. Like, he needs to be a factor.
Everybody was riding Matthews and Marner for not showing up. Well, JT didn't play in the series last year, so we never really got to see what he was going to bring. I mean, he could be a scapegoat this year if they get knocked out in the first round.
Well,
Like no, he could if they go 7 games and Tavares goes 0 goals. People are going to point to that, and people are
of
going to say
course.
shit. So if I'm him, get your fucking game going.
He needs a big game. He needs to maybe spend some time with the fleshlight. I don't know. Like, I know he's got his wife at home and shit, but so he needs to.
The wife is great, but sometimes you need a little escape.
Dude, I've seen some
fantasy.
I've seen some weird shit with the fleshlight. I don't know if now is the time to bring it up, but I've seen some fucking situations where people will put up some like suction cups or something, and they'll rig it up on like a sink, and they'll be like, "Who likes going hands free?" People like going hands free with the fleshlight sometimes.
That's actually a genius idea.
Just duct tape it to the fucking kitchen counter or the bathroom counter, and away you go.
Fleshlight.com.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
Tavares. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I hope he gets it going. Like, I don't know if he's gonna be able to here. Like, well, okay. So we'll give our thoughts on Game 3 before we go. But quickly, I just want to quickly say. So just give the out of town scores here. So you were just mentioning about Boston and Carolina. So Carolina whoops them again, 5-2. No surprise there for me. They lead the series 2-0. Rod the Bod. Carolina Hurricanes, he's got them fucking worked right up. No problem there. Lickety split. Probably should be a sweep. Wouldn't doubt it. So Boston, I don't like their chances.
I wouldn't be surprised if Boston just quit after 2 games.
I wouldn't be surprised either. So obviously the Leafs fall 5-3 to the Lightning. Series tied 1-1. The Minnesota Wildcats are currently up 4-0 on the St. Louis Blues halfway through the second. Looks like that series will be tied 1-1. And at the end of the first, the LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers are scoreless. Game 3 on Friday night at 7:30. We'll be back doing a post-game pod after that. Hopefully, Leafs take a 2-1 series lead. What are your thoughts, expectations for Game 3? What are you looking forward to? What do we need to see, Chad, in game number 3?
This is how it's going to go. Their crowd's going to be crazy. Tampa's coming off a win. You got to weather the storm. Weather the storm. No pun intended, because you're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, but you really do have to weather the storm. The first 5, maybe 10 minutes of the first period, Tampa's going to be so jacked up. It's going to be fucking crazy. Get out of that nothing. Take the game from there. That's what I'm talking about. And JT, get her going.
Now, will Pierre Engvall be packing the short shorts for this trip to Tampa Bay?
No.
What?
No.
What?
Apparently he's just
Come on.
Apparently he's just Winnie. He's just going Winnie the Pooh.
No shorts.
Just a shirt.
Forget the short shorts. We're going no shorts for Pierre Engvall.
No shorts, no underwear.
Dude, there's
criminal.
communities in Florida where they're just you don't even need shorts. Nudist community.
The team is staying at a hotel. Engvall's staying at a nudist community.
I've never told you this story, and I'm not going to tell it tonight. I'm going to save it for probably next podcast. I used to work with a guy that was all about nudist community. He wanted to leave Toronto to move to a nudist community. That was what his whole life plan was, just to get out of the GTA, move to a warm climate nudist community. I'll tell that story on the next podcast.
We're teeing up a nudist story for the.
It was great. Like every time I saw this guy, that's all he could talk. That's all he could talk about. That's all he cared about.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah.
Did he ever get there?
I don't know. I don't know. I should look him up and see. He was an older guy, right? So I was just like, yeah, right on, cool, man. Like probably me too. Like put me on a beach somewhere warm in a nudist community with a bottle of wine and pack of darts when I'll be good to go too. So let's fire it up. Let's fire it up.
All right. What are you looking forward to in Game 3?
Well,
what do you expect from the Leafs in Game 3?
Like I like their effort in Game 1 and 2, so I'm not on them for a lack of effort here. I think they're like, again, just come out and play your game. Maybe like special teams like could have decided. So if the refs are going to continue to call bullshit calls, then you're probably going to need to pop a few on the fucking power play to win the game. Don't take stupid fucking penalties. There's a key. And I want to see Spezza in the lineup, and I want to see guys like Tavares and some of the other, I was going to say lesser guys, but fuck, I mean, really, Tavares is a main guy, needs to elevate. Like you saw some of Tampa's big boys elevate their game tonight. Hey. We need to see that on some of the boys for the Leafs, like JT.
Everybody coming in this playoffs was talking about can Matthews and Marner produce in the playoffs.
They look great.
They have elevated their game. It's time for JT to elevate his game.
And here's what I'm looking for, or here's what needs to happen the most. Willie Nylander needs to stay the fuck away from any sushi bar that he sees in the area. Food poisoning.
He played better in Game 1.
That's true. Sorry, I take that back.
Eat sushi.
Hit the sushi bar before Game 3, Willie, and fire that puppy back up. Get those roasted shrimp fired right on the barbie.
Yeah. We'll see Game 3 on Friday night. Just weather the storm. Come out, give it your all. But I know Tampa and the crowd and everything, it's going to be crazy for the first 5 minutes. Weather that storm and then take it to Tampa. The end of this game showed that this team's got a little jump and they're going to push back. This series is going the distance. But anyway, anything else you want to add?
No, man. No, we're going to Florida now. Like, I mean, I know we're going to Tampa.
Not.
Well,
the Leafs are.
We just say that sometimes. I do anyway. Like, they're going to Florida. I know they're going to Tampa, and they're not going to Sunrise, where our friends play. But you know what? Even just because you're not going to Sunrise,
who lost Game 1, by the way.
I know. Just because you're not going to Sunrise and you're going to Tampa, it doesn't mean you can't find or grab yourself a couple of Cougars while you're down there, boys.
Florida is the capital of Cougars. Capital of Cougars.
Maybe you leave the fleshlights at home and you just go grab a couple Cougars. Maybe you do both. Whatever. Let's go get Game 3, and we'll see you after Game 3 for hopefully a very positive podcast after a Leafs 2-1 series lead. That's what we're banking on for Friday night.
Yeah, for the Tip and Maple Leafs podcast, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Tip and Maple Leafs podcast, on Twitter at the Tip and Podcast. Email us the tipandpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our YouTube page at the Tip and Maple Leafs podcast. Hit like, hit subscribe, and then come on after the game and check out our live streams where we record the podcast until Friday. When the Leafs take a 2-1 series lead, we will.
Oh my God, look out. What is that?
It's a horse cock.
Is that a horse? Is that a gigantic horse? Oh, no, that's just Pierre Engvall with no fucking pants on in Tampa Bay, Florida. Let's go get Game 3, boys. Go, Leafs. Go. Catch you later.
Whose horse is that?